Right, we know that when the user comes to this user profile page, it is immediately after they've just established their own identity on the site through the registration process. So therefore we can use this to actually immediately, as soon as they come to this page, create a record for them inside our users table in the Access database. So that's what we will do. As soon as the moment they arrive at this page, let's create another record for them in the Access database. So we'll create that record, but when they come to add all this extra data, like their first name, their last name, their gender, their location, and a picture of themselves, then we want them to save it. So if you like, this page is going to has two modes. When you first arrive at it, where it will actually create a record in the database of you, and the second, and then when you press the button to commit all the data you've just added about your first name, last name, gender, location, and picture, and then save that to the database. So let's deal first of all with the kind of when the user first arrives. So let's kind of right-click on user profile. Let's choose view code. Okay, let's hide the toolbox for a while now, because we probably won't be needing to look at that, and just move the Solution Explorer to the side. So first of all, let's make as per usual. We're going to be using a lot of database stuff, so let's import the Access Data OLEDB library. That's the first thing we need to do. Okay. Now then, inside the page, we need to first of all check, is this a post back? Remember, a post back comes from somebody clicking a button on that page, but if it's not a post back, it just means the user has arrived through some other means. So we want that they've arrived through the registration process. So we say if not is post back, this means we definitely know they've arrived. They've not pressed a button on the page. This is when we need to create the record in our Access database corresponding to them as a user. And at this moment, all we're going to add is their username. So first of all, we need to let's make a check. Let's check that the user isn't already in the database, and by some strange reason they've managed to get to this page. So let's do the check. So dim does user exist command equals, so here's just a kind of an SQL string to query the database to find if the user already is in the database. Select star from users where username equals, and then I'm going to put a single quote, and I'm going to end this thing, ampersand. Now then, what we can use is that, which we covered just once before, is an extremely useful feature of the SQL authentication, namely the field user.identity.name, which immediately tells us what user is here. So where username equals user identity name, and now I just need, in the SQL statement, I just need to kind of add the extra single quote. Okay, and then we've got our SQL statement. Okay, so that's the SQL statement. Now then, let's create our OLEDB connection, which we've done many times before. So I'm just going to copy and paste it. Okay, so there's our OLEDBcon. Then we're just going to open OLEDBcon, dbcon.open. Okay, then we create the OLE. The DB command object, so dim db cmd as OLEDB command equals new OLEDB command. Now remember, this passes the SQL string as the first parameter, does user exist cmd, and the other parameter is the database connection, so it's OLEDBcon. Okay, so that's go to our command object. Now then, we need to see if what we need to is find out if there is any record in this database where this username exists. And so that's quite a simple process. All we have to do is say if not db read. Sorry, I'm going ahead of myself. First of all, I need to actually read it. So dim db read equals db cmd.execute reader. That means that db read will be, if you like, the holding bay for any records returned by that query. Okay, so now I just want to check if there are indeed any records, and I can find that out by saying if not db read has rows. Okay, so as long as, that means if nothing has been returned from the database, therefore we can't find a record where that username is in the database. We see it. So then okay, so now we're safe. So we know this user does not already exist. So what we can do is that we say dim new user cmd equals, okay, so it's going to be insert into users open bracket user name, which is going to be the field that we're going to be updating, values. So okay, and then since at this stage, we're only passing in the user identity name. It's not something the user themselves has put in. We don't have to worry too much about adding with parameters, add with value or anything like that. We could maybe just use a single quotes and insert into username values. So insert into users username values. Okay, ampersand user identity name ampersand, and then I'm going to just put an end of the single quote, an end to the bracket, and then end. That's the end of the whole SQL command, new user command. Then again we've got this business of creating a db command object, so I can just copy the first part of this. Dim db command, dim, let's put it as a new user cmd object as DLU command, early db command, and then the first parameter is the command string, new user cmd, and the other parameter is the connection object. Okay, so now we've got that in place. Now we need to just simply execute that. New user cmd obj dot execute non-query. Okay, and end if. So by doing that, that will create the user in our related database. Okay, so that creates the user. Okay. Just as, but this is the so if we look at the in Access, it fills in this field here, username, but it keeps all the others completely blank. Now what the second half of this page needs to do, which is to say the bit where after having typed in their details, the user press submit, then what the software needs to do is find this field, this record you just added, and then fill in the remaining fields. Okay, but the nice thing is we know that the username has to be unique because the whole authentication system is based on that. So all we have to do is find that record with the particular username we want, and then we will be able to use the update SQL command to specify those values.